What's going on guys, Unknown Player here, and in this video we've got a load of interesting Destiny news to talk about, including DLC, news from Bungie and Activision, patches, and also some things coming up soon for Destiny. So firstly, Activision once again held an earnings call in which they discussed and announced how things are going as a company per quarter to their investors and shareholders, and they also sometimes give out little bits of news on what's on the way, because it's kind of their duty to publicly keep their investors in the loop of how their money is being spent and what to expect from Activision in the future with their games like Destiny. So Eric Hirshberg, who is the CEO of Activision, actually came out with a pretty interesting statement about Destiny in the future, and I'm going to read it to you right now. He said, "It's clear that our fans are more hungry for content than we've been able to create, and that passion and loyalty from our fans is something we don't take for granted. This is why we're working side by side with Bungie to make sure in the future we'll be able to deliver a more consistent stream of great content." So if I was to summarize what he said literally by what he meant, he basically said, we know that content has been a bit slow this year, we appreciate the patience of our fans, we're going to make sure there is more content more consistently in the future. That is basically what he said, and the main takeaway is that they understand that Destiny players and Destiny fans always want more DLCs, more expansions, and more content, and they're promised to deliver a more consistent stream of stuff to us, so we'll have more stuff to look forward to. Of course, it is always important to note that Bungie as a team are focused on Destiny 2 right now. That is their main priority, and the majority of the team is going to be working on that. So while I wouldn't expect a bunch of expansions every couple months, I would expect a lot more than what I've gotten so far in year 2. And that is pretty much what Eric Hirshberg is saying. There will be a lot more than what we've gotten so far, and they appreciate our patience, so we're going to be getting more stuff on the way. So speaking of things that are on the way, we do know the next planned DLC for Destiny is a large new expansion in the fall. Of course, we don't know exactly when it is. We don't have a name. We don't know anything about this expansion. All we know is it's a large one, so we can assume it's the same size as the Taken King. And they once again confirmed this expansion in the conference call by saying later this year, Activision and Bungie plan to release a large new expansion for the Destiny universe, which we'll hear more about in the coming months. I think it's a safe bet that they'll probably be revealing this expansion in E3, which is just 1 month away now. They've done it every single year since they first announced Destiny at 2013, and then they of course brought the Alpha in 2014, and they brought Taken King in 2015. So if we follow that track record, I think it's pretty likely they will be bringing this fall expansion to E3, but of course we're going to have to wait until official announcements to see if that is true or not. The last thing that I thought was pretty interesting about the Activision earnings call is they mentioned there were 30 million registered players for Destiny now. So that is the official number, 30 million registered players. And they mentioned how the April update brought a definite resurgence back to the game, and people really enjoyed it and it was well received. And the next thing to look forward to for Destiny is this large new expansion for the Destiny universe. So moving away from the future and into the present of right now things happening in Destiny, they implemented a patch on Tuesday, which is 2.2.0.2. This did some immediate changes, which you'll notice right now in game in terms of bug fixes and changes, and also some changes which will only be activated next Tuesday on the 10th of May. So something that will be activated next Tuesday that I have to wait for is the melee changes, like I talked about in my recent video. That is going to be fixing the blade dance and the shoulder charge where it didn't really hit people and wasn't registering properly, and that was a bug in the code, and that's going to be activated next Tuesday. And they said to also make sure to give them any feedback in case things aren't working like they're supposed to, and they want to make sure they aren't fixing one thing and breaking another. So in terms of things that are fixed on Tuesday's update, they fixed some chests in the old Prison of Elders, sometimes that weren't giving loot. Something pretty funny is they fixed an issue of ghost dropping in the Nightfall that were actually below your light level. That's like the biggest troll. It's become like a running joke of getting ghost shells in the Nightfall, but apparently it was a bug that ghost shells were actually dropping below your light level and they weren't progressive. Like most loot in the April update always drops above your light level, and that's how it works now. But it seemed there were some ghost shells that are dropping below some people's light level. So that has now been fixed, and thankfully, hopefully, you won't see that again. Now, they also fixed an issue with the Finesse and Speed quest, and also an issue being able to buy the Dreadfang before you complete the quest. Something else pretty interesting is that the Crypt Art packages were giving year 1 engrams. That's something I noticed. It was very weird. Like when you get a Crypt Art package, and if it would give you a blue engram, it would drop you a year 1 item, which is really weird. I was getting like some Rust Burner stuff from year 1 with like 100 light, and it was really weird. I'm not sure why it was happening, but that apparently has been fixed. So your year 1 blue engrams will now drop you year 2 stuff. On a similar topic, I'm really hoping they fix the Crypt Art packages in the Reef, because Master Ives doesn't seem to give them, so that is a bug. I'm not sure whether they're aware of it, but hopefully that gets fixed soon, because currently if you get a Crypt Art package, you won't be able to collect it, and it just won't appear in the Reef for Master Ives. You have to go all the way to the tower and collect it from Master Rahul. The final bug fix was allowing a universal remote to drop from special engrams when it was actually a primary weapon. So I think before we actually had 2 sources, you can get it from primary and special engrams. That's been fixed now. Seeing as a primary weapon is a primary shotgun, you can now only get it from the primary exotic engrams. So something else pretty cool is that Bungie are actually going to be getting back into their Twitch schedule and streaming regularly on their Twitch channel, which they got into before the April update, and they did some reveals for it. So next Wednesday on the 11th, they're going to be with the artists of Destiny looking at some concepts and designs of worlds, characters, and weapons, and that's going to be a really interesting stream. It's definitely always really cool to see the behind the scenes and the concepts of how stuff was made in Destiny. That is definitely worth looking into. And the following Wednesday, they're going to be doing a ride along for the raid, or as a raid along as they call it, where they get Bungie employees to basically go through the Kingsfall raid and give some commentary over it. And this is what I'm really looking forward to the most. I think this is going to be really interesting, and they're going to get basically a designer and also a story writer to go through the raid and also give some commentary about how stuff was made and why things are the way they are. So a designer, of course, can be going through and saying why the mechanics are the way they are and why the rooms are designed and how they built encounters to be challenging. And then, of course, the story guy will also be going into the lore, explaining the boss fights and the bosses and why they're there, what they do, the mechanics, and all stuff like that. So it's going to be really interesting, and it'll be from a Bungie employee's perspective of what it was like to build the raid and why things are the way they are in the raid. So I think that's definitely going to be a really interesting stream, and that is going to be the following Wednesday on the 18th of May. Now, the next stream after that is going to be one with Crucible, and it's basically going to be a Crucible ride-along. They're going to be going into some of the Crucible maps and talking about the design of them, the structure, how they were built. Probably quite similar to the Kingsfall raid and the current ride-alongs we've had so far. But of course, this one is going to be all about PvP. We've never had one in the Crucible, so it will be interesting to see the perspective of how Crucible maps are made and some of the design philosophies that go into them. So that has been all the latest news from Bungie and Activision about Destiny and things coming up very soon. As always, I hope you guys did enjoy the video. Be sure to leave your thoughts down below in the comments. What do you think about the DLC and the Fall expansion on the way? Do you think they're going to reveal something at E3? I always love reading all of your comments, so be sure to leave them down below. You can always drop a like rating on this video if you enjoyed it. I'd appreciate that. And subscribe for more videos on the channel, and I'll see you guys in the next one.